Bulls Nation, a few days ago, we had a trade that sent a player to the Chicago Bulls that I feel like many people now are very excited about. And of course, in doing that, we got rid of another player in Larry Marketing. And of course, we will not really be talking about him in this video. Today, we're going to be talking solely about the player that we brought into the Chicago Bulls and what his role will be for the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Without further ado, let's talk about Derrick Jones Jr. and his role on the Chicago Bulls. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls related video referring to some Derrick Jones Jr. discussions. What is his role going to be for the Chicago Bulls and how do I see him being played in this team? Again, this is another addition that I feel like many people are excited about on the Chicago Bulls, and we're going to further discuss what I think his role can be on this team. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about Derrick Jones Jr. and what he could be on the Chicago Bulls. And I know I've said this before and I should say this again. Many people that have been watching Derrick Jones Jr. wanted him on the Chicago Bulls last year when he was on the Miami Heat, or I should say 2 years ago. And with Derrick Jones Jr., it has been a little bit of time, but the Bulls finally got the person that I feel like they were after from the very beginning. A very solid two-way player with extreme athleticism and someone that I feel fits perfectly into this team, especially on the bench for the Chicago Bulls. So, with Derrick Jones Jr., what is his positives? What are the negatives? The positives of Derrick Jones Jr. is very, very simple. A, he's a very athletic player. He's someone that shows true athleticism. He's a slam dunk champion. He is by far going to be a very, very, very strong player when it comes to highlight plays, as well as when it comes to defensive plays and the highlight blocks that he could get on this team. Athleticism is the main standout, I think, for Derrick Jones Jr. But one of the most underrated things, in my opinion, that I truly believe makes Derrick Jones Jr. worth that trade to bring him into the Chicago Bulls team: two-way ability. Right now, when you look at this bench, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of two-way players on this team. And two-way players, at the end of the day, are players that are good offensively and players that are good defensively. And this is something that I feel very happy about with the Chicago Bulls, knowing that we've got another player like this onto the team. Alex Caruso, two-way player. Ayo Dosunmu, potential, if he works on his offensive capabilities, to be a very good two-way player. Obviously, we have Troy Brown Jr., two-way player. Javonte Green, two-way player. You have players in the starting lineup. Lonzo Ball, two-way player. Patrick Williams, two-way player. We have so many players that can play defense on this team now at a very decent level, to say the least. We are becoming a much better defensive team with the acquisition of Derrick Jones Jr. And at the course of free agency, we've gotten a little bit better defensively over the course of that time. And that is something else that we're going to get. Two-way ability. Derrick Jones Jr. should pride himself on that, because that's a very, very strong thing to have in this league. Above all else, if you're a good defender in this league that can make open shots, that can take shots at an efficient level, you're going to be valued in this league. Derrick Jones Jr. only averaged, I believe, 6.8 points per game, but he shot it at over 40% from the field. That's an incredible thing to have on your team at the end of the day, in my opinion. And the two-way ability of this player should definitely not be ignored. But of course, many people will look at the highlights, will look at those YouTube mixtapes and whatnot, and they'll see that he's going to be a very athletic player. And that's obviously an exciting thing to have every now and then. Maybe every game, we're going to see some beautiful things from Derrick Jones Jr. But two-way ability is something that I feel should very much be strongly valued with the Chicago Bulls. What do I see happening with Derrick Jones Jr.? What is his role on the Chicago Bulls? Well, I think he's a bench player. I don't see him starting, at least from the time being. Of course, injuries can play a factor in whether a player starts in the season or not. But as his main role, I see him being a very good bench contributor once again. And I see him being in a system where that bench team is going to be running out in transition and, again, playing some very solid defense. A team that has the ability to run out in transition and make open plays, I feel like this is a perfect fit for him. And, again, versatility in our scoring. I've already already talked about that so many times. We can slow the ball down when you have players like Nikola Vucevic on the team and make the right plays, make the play that will get you the easy bucket. And we also have now a team that can truly run out in transition when Nikola Vucevic is off the floor. When you have players like, again, Ayo Dosunmu, who's shown that he could be a very good transition guy. Kobe White, who's been known to be a very fast player and can go in the transition as well. Alex Caruso, we all know the highlight plays he has, the ability to run and the ability to dunk. He's a highlight player. Obviously, Derrick Jones Jr., athleticism to say the least. You can expect some lobs being thrown to him throughout the season. At the end of the day, you even have players like Tony Bradley that should be a rim runner for this team, and he's been known to be able to make a run once he gets the rebound, or even if he doesn't get the rebound, he's running down the floor, which is a very good thing to have for his size. Even Marco is someone that could be a really good run and transition guy. He has speed for his size as well. So yes, this is exactly what I see Derrick Jones Jr.'s role being for the Chicago Bulls. Many people's excitement about his athleticism, being able to run, being able to play defense, is the role he's having. He's going to be on this team to play defense. That's his role first. Defense first. Run out in transition, get some easy layups, get some highlight dunks, and go and make sure that we are the team that's going to be outworking the other team. That's our role, and that's the bench's role to say the least. This is exactly what Derrick Jones Jr. will be on the Chicago Bulls. And that's what we brought him in to do. And that's honestly why I feel like the Chicago Bulls wanted him 2 years ago. We wanted him 2 years ago because we implemented a system where we were very ball movement oriented, where we were slashing to the basket, trying to get easy layups, easy dunks, and having the ability to move the ball and move yourselves. Ball movement, player movement is something that I feel like Derrick Jones Jr. could be a welcome addition to. And I think that's the role he's going to be in. And I said this in the last video, and I'll say it in this video. To get the best out of Derrick Jones Jr., you need to put him in a system where he excels. At the end of the day, we have put many young athletic guards, many young athletic players with Derrick Jones Jr., who is also a young athletic player. The athleticism of this team is undeniable right now. We are one of the most fun teams to watch, in my opinion. We haven't even stepped foot on the court yet. That's how good I feel like our team can be and how entertaining our team can be. Adding Derrick Jones Jr. into the mix is all the more exciting. We will be one of the funnest teams to watch in the season for the Chicago Bulls. So at the entirety of the teams, you can count the teams that are really exciting to watch. And I'm guaranteeing you now, we are going to be one of those teams to watch. Whether we are a fantastic team or a team still working on it, at the end of the day, we have the players that make us fun to watch. And that's exactly what the Chicago Bulls should always be. Whether we're a solid team, a great team, championship team, or mediocre team, you need to have players in there that makes this team fun to watch. That you know that there is something we're building towards. Derrick Jones Jr. fits right into that category. He's a young 24-year-old player who's going to be here for 1 year at least, potentially more if he shows that he deserves that opportunity throughout the course of the year. And he's going to have some highlight plays on this team. He's going to get those blocks. He's going to get those dunks. And he's going to run out and transition. He's going to use his athleticism and his ability to be that athlete to go and get us easy buckets. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what we need in that position. That's what we've been looking for the whole time. That's the reason many people turned on Larry Markkinen, because he was not that guy for us in many ways. And Derrick Jones Jr. will be that guy for us. He will be that guy that will work hard, play defense, and run out and transition with the bunch of the bench players that we have. And this is why I'm very excited, because it's versatility, ladies and gentlemen. The ability to have so many two-way players. Let's be honest. I could give you a defensive lineup right now of, let's say, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, Troy Brown Jr., Derrick Jones Jr., Tony Bradley, something like that. A defensive lineup that has two-way capabilities as well. Who's stopping that team? If you could put Ayo in there, again, I put Lonzo in there, but you could put Ayo in there. Defensively, we could have a really good team here. We could have a team that can press. I have always said with the Chicago Bulls that our biggest issue is turnovers. And I'm talking about committing turnovers. I could truly see if we put the right team in place at times, we could be the team forcing turnovers instead of committing the turnovers. That's exactly what I feel when you have a team like we do that has two-way players like we have. And of course, there needs to be work. There's work to be done It's easy to say that, but it's time for the Chicago Bulls players. It's time for those Alex Caruso's, Troy Brown, Io, even Kobe White, Tony Bradley, and Derrick Jones Jr., those players that have been put into this team for that specific reason. It's time for them to go out and prove that they deserve to be here, and that the things that we've been talking about, the two-way players, the two-way capabilities, the offense and the defense in itself is worth their time. It's time for them to show that this is a team that we can believe in. And this is a team off the bench that can help the starting lineup when our starting lineup is off. This is what it's time to now. We have a lot more moves to go, in my opinion. It's not over by the long shot for the Chicago Bulls, but it's now time to show with this team, bench-wise, I think this is a very good two-way bench team. We have really good offense, we have really good defense, and it's time to show just why the Chicago Bulls could be a very good bench in this league. We still need some veterans, in my opinion, off of that bench. The fact that Alex Caruso is still, or Javonte Green, both of those players are still our oldest bench players. I think we need a little bit more veteran leadership in that bench unit. But at the end of the day, we'll wait and see. And I still feel like that power forward position is something that we could still have a very... We need depth in, let's put it that way. And I just think that that's something we need to work on as well. But we can talk about that in another video. This is the Derrick Jones Jr., what his role is going to be for the Chicago Bulls. To recap, he's going to be a two-way player. He's going to play defense. He's going to run out in transition, and he's going to do it effectively off of the bench. That's basically what I feel his role will be. And I want to end this video here. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Are you excited about this player? Because I did make a video 2 days ago, I believe, about this situation, and many people are excited about this player. Many people like the idea of having Derrick Jones Jr. on the team, and I want to know more. If people haven't commented on that video and are watching this video, if you're excited, let me know why you're excited. Tell me. Let's have that conversation. Let's get that engagement going, and let's express how good this team has done so far, how good Artorias has done so far, and how good this team looks on paper. At the end of the day, it's time for them to put in the work to show that everything that I've been saying and other Bulls players, Bulls fans have been saying, let's see if they can prove us right. Because we all believe, in my opinion, this is going to be a fun team to say the least. Whether it's a championship team, a playoff team, or a team that's fighting for the playoffs, I don't know that situation. My guess is that we're going to be a playoff team to say the least. That's the minimum we should be. And the top is we're competing with the teams in the East. If that's going to be the case, it's time for these players to prove us right. And let's see if they can. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more Chicago Bulls videos. Take care and peace.